Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode one of Brew and Babble. I actually just want to minimize that because it's very distracting with I see myself on the screen. Okay, so what we're going to do, as I mentioned previously, this is going to be like a 20-minute thing. With the Brew and Babble section, what I really want to do is just have a look at what's happening in the neighborhood. The witchcraft communities that are around, etc., etc. And just catch up with stuff, I suppose. I'm gonna change my screen a bit here. There we go. Um, so sorry about my tardiness. I'm a minute or two late. I was rushing around, which is why I'm out of breath. All right. But thanks everybody for joining. If you do have any questions about what I'm talking about or anything else, just drop them in the chat. If I don't get to them during this particular live, what I'll do is I'll make a short from your answering your question type of thing. So we can do that. Right. So the first thing I want to mention is the new album from Heka. I have put a link in the description to this stream, so you can go and grab that. It's called sorry, Apotropaic. There you go, I got it. And it's on Bandcamp. Now, all proceeds go towards various charities that they've chosen. So it's listed on there and in the description if you go onto there. Now, what you're going to want to do is go and purchase the album. Okay, the reason being you get it comes in a zip file with all the music inside it, but there's also a zine which goes through various things regarding magic and punk and everything else. But what they've done, and I think this is brilliant, I love it, they have created a sigil for each song. So you can have a look at the sigil, you can activate it with the song itself, and then you can use it wherever you want to for whatever purpose. All right, well, purposes are defined obviously within each sigil, but it's brilliant, and I love their music. I think they are amazing. So definitely go and support them. Go and support the causes that they're actually doing anyway. The other thing I actually wanted to start with, yeah, they kind of launched, Heka kind of launched the album like 2 hours ago. So they just sent me the email. I went and grabbed it quick and I listened to it. Amazing album. So that's new. All right. So I put that in just in the last minute. One other thing I actually wanted to mention, and I found this a bit, it was a bit kismet. On my Facebook feed, now I usually get all the news feeds and that type of stuff, and about various things going on around the world and whatnot. But what I found strange was this random person was shown on my feed, and it was a very vile, horrible, hateful Christian person who was targeting a specific shop in West Plains, which I believe is in Missouri. All right. So if anybody, I just want to say, if anybody's in West Plains, please go and have a look in at, it's a shop called Life Phases. And if you know the person, the owner of this store, just let them know there's a group of Christian people who are, there was a various words that were used, but one particular phrase was take it out. All right, which got me a bit concerned. I shared that on my own Facebook profile, and the next day, obviously, they saw that I'd done that. It looks like they deleted the post from their own profile. So yeah, if you are in or near West Plains, just go and have a look in at Life Phases. Go and support them. I think they could do with the additional help and support and whatnot. All right, so let's get on to the news. All right, one thing I do want to kind of add to this Brew and Babble show is the latest stuff that's happened on a Witch Talk. I know a lot of people, everybody's like, oh, Witch Talk, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but it is hilarious at the same time. I love watching the drama that's going on Witch Talk and the shit they come up with. It's unbelievable. Um, but this is kind of old news, that whole Alex Reed's tarot situation that came about. Um, but it's not just that though. So I don't really want to go into this too much because it's actually just completely ridiculous. I mean, seriously, these people just need to grow the hell up. But the whole Alex Reed's tarot thing, just to give you a brief breakdown, there was a woman who was had a huge following on TikTok and I believe Tumblr as well. I'm not sure, um, but massive following, like what 1 million followers or something. And she was quite famous, and she does tarot readings for people. She did, so she was making money off it and everything else. And she decided that she's going to go back to Christianity, or I don't know if she was looking at or Christian or kind of going in that direction anyway for a period of time. But she just announced she kind of put everything on private or deleted all of her videos and put one up saying she's going back to Christianity and therefore tarot reading no longer aligns with um, her her beliefs and all such things. And there was a big outroar about it, obviously. And it's not wasn't just because she was going back to Christianity. It's also she kind of misled a lot of people who were following her, who put paying her for readings and all of this stuff when it wasn't. She's kind of like going down a different garden path. But she wasn't. It was just an announcement, and she moved on and everything else, right? But witch talk, as it is. Um, there were a handful of people that just decided they're going to blow up at each other. All right, so they didn't just leave it at that. They kind of had to have their own little witch war, and it was hysterical. It was absolutely brilliant. But as I said, I don't really want to get into that too much. What I can do is there's a video on YouTube. If you want to know about all of this and actually know the nitty-gritty and all the details and all the various parties that were involved, because there was a lot that I actually didn't see that this person actually picked up. It's a video on YouTube called Witch Talk is a Disaster Right Now, and it's by somebody called Dimitri Falco. Go and watch that if you want to find out. If you don't want to find out about it, go and check Dimitri Falco's channel out anyway, because I absolutely love her makeup. Brilliant. Very goth. Um, but yeah, no, it went absolutely insanely crazy. I mean, we had um, a whole situation here. I'm just trying to find the details. I know I wrote them down somewhere. Where did I put it now? We had a situation here in South Africa in 2022, I think it was, where the guy called Rian Swigler, and he was the founder, or co-founder, but also the leader of Church of Satan in South Africa. Hold on, let me just find that. Oh, here I've got the details over here, just so I get all the facts straight. Got to do that. It's the Brew and Babble show. All right, let's open this up. All right, so he was called the Undercover Satanist, right? And this was in 2022. He was the co-founder and reverend of the South African Satanic Church. So what happened is he had this experience where he kind of Jesus came to him. He kind of challenged Jesus, prove it and everything else, and then he had this experience. Okay, so he went to Christianity. Now the problem there, comparing this to Alex Reed's tarot, the problem there was he kind of took that and he made money off it, like tons and tons of money. He wrote a book. He went on tour throughout South Africa. He was doing seminars. He was doing, what was it? Yeah, he labeling it. Uh, where is it now? Yeah, he was labeling it as he's helping people convert back to Christianity. Okay, and he made a crap load of money off this. That is harmful. It's extremely harmful. All right. But the Alex Reed's tarot thing, apart from the fact that she kind of led people in the wrong direction to begin with, and she was taking money from them, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, there is that to it, but it could have been worse. Let's put it that way. So, you know, all of these people. Anyway, so let me get back to the rest of the news. The other thing that actually popped up on Witch Talk, um, there's a few things, obviously a few things. It's Witch Talk. I mean, what do you expect? But I thought this was actually worth speaking about. So there's this whole rhetoric that Celtic paganism is a closed practice. Now, you're probably sitting there going, "Huh, what?" Um, the thing with this is that okay, Celtic paganism. Morgan Daimler actually did a great piece on this. She did a good video, or it was like a 5 minute short or something like that. And there was somebody else. I'm just trying to find who that was as well. I can't remember where I put this now. It's the person from the Irish. Hold on. Here, oh, here you go. I've got it here. So I've got notes all over the place. I need to put them all in one place, obviously. Laura O'Brien from the Irish Pagan School. All right. So there's Morgan Daimler and Laura O'Brien kind of spoke about this. So Celtic paganism is not a closed practice. It's open to everybody really, but that's Celtic paganism. It's quite a broad umbrella. Okay, and the issue comes in that Irish paganism. You know, if you're kind of talking about Celtic paganism, you're talking about the Irish, the Welsh, the Scottish, the Gaelic, etc., etc., etc. So it becomes this broader umbrella. But if you're then talking about Irish paganism or Scottish paganism or something like that, then it's not necessarily a closed practice. What they're calling it is a semi-open or semi-closed practice. The reason is that it is still open to everyone who wants to go and explore it and join it and practice it and everything else. But the problem is that there's a lot of people who feel that the whole eclectic witchcraft thing, they kind of feel like they can take all of this other stuff from other faiths and like plug it into this Irish paganism or whatever. And that is really disrespectful. Irish paganism, practice Irish paganism. And this is kind of where that whole thing came from, the idea that Celtic paganism is a closed practice, or should be, or whatever. There are some people in, like Ireland or Scotland or whatever, will probably say to you it is a closed practice because they want to keep their their practices close to home, you know. So yeah, I thought that was worth mentioning. Then, what else did we have? There was uh, The Guardian. They ran a feature on the growing popularity of witchcraft retreats among American women, and it centered on a retreat in the Irish countryside. It was led by author and spiritual mentor by the name of Isabella Ferrari, who apparently wrote Penny the Witch. So participants take part in forest rituals, divination, storytelling, communal ceremony, you know, all the usual stuff. And it was framed as a response to isolation, to disillusionment with organized religion, and dissatisfaction with the patriarchal structures. So completely understandable. Um, Now, many attendees they did come from a Christian background, but say they no longer feel represented by traditional churches. Okay, absolutely, completely understand that. But apparently, the comments section is where it gets really interesting. So there was a lot of reactions. Where the reactions kind of split roughly into three camps. You had the supporters who saw it as women reclaiming spiritual authority outside patriarchal religious institutions. As I said, completely understand that. Then we had critics kind of questioning the cost, because this was around $3,000 for one of these retreats, right? And claiming that communicating with the dead was a bad thing or something. I'm not sure. And then the third count was explicitly Christian commentators or commenters citing biblical condemnation of witchcraft, which you usually get in this stuff. But there were some prominent pagan voices who came and kind of gave their 2 cents worth. Sarah Amis flagged the price tag specifically. She and friends practiced the same things informally and for free for years. Just hold on a sec. I need to clear my throat and have a cough. So I'm just gonna. All right, sorry. I had a tickle in my throat. So yeah, Sarah Amis, they kind of did the same thing for free, so she had a bit of a problem with the price tag, but also argued the hostile male commentators proved the article's point about patriarchy and women's anger. There was Caroline Tully. She was a sharpist. She called the retreat's model "The witch wound is lucrative," and agreed it seemed all about wallowing, pushing back on the commercialization of trauma as healing language. And then Sarita Deste, who I think is a fantastic author, she responded to the "if you stop believing in God, you'll believe in anything" line with "we do not stop believing in God, we just realize there are many gods," reframing the debate around polytheism rather than atheism versus religion. It was a very interesting take on the whole thing. I think any kind of event like this, you end up with people from all sides coming in from, supporting and not supporting, and it gets quite interesting. But as I said, I mean, this Brew and Babble section, what I'm trying to do is kind of like scour the web and find the various talking points that are going on at the moment. Now, the last two things really cover books because I like books. I think you all like books as well. So the first thing was the 2026 COVR Visionary Awards. The COVR is the Coalition of Visionary Resources, and they kind of announced the awards for various books falling into different sections. So some of these you might want to tag and highlight for books that you might want to go and read. So firstly, there was Madame Pamita's The Witch's Guide to Animal Familiars. So that swept Book of the Year itself. Then there was Christopher Penzak's Goddess of the Cauldron, which received gold in the Shamanism and Paganism category. There was Jessica Lahoud's, I think that's how you pronounce the name, a Practical Guide to Magic in Nature, which won gold for witchcraft and magic. The Brew and Babble, I forgot to drink my brew. That's probably why my throat's all tickly. And then now Matt Oren wrote the book, but there's a Matt Oren / Evo Dominguez Jr. / Devon Hunter. They shared gold in the iconic books category for the deluxe hardcover edition of Psychic Witch. Psychic Witch was by Matt Oren. And then Michelle Welch earned gold for A Psychic's Handbook, Methods and Advice for Communicating with Spirits, and was also recognized as a gold-winning social media personality. Then we have Lorian Anderson and Juliet Diaz. Their book, Seasons of the Witch, which is it's an Astara Oracle, that won the gold for Oracle card decks, and went on to receive Card Deck of the Year honors. There was pagan author Gypsy Elaine Teague, also received a bronze award in the alternative science books category for Norse Cosmology, a compendium. All right, so there's some books that you can go hunt down. I must say that I want to go read the Madame Permita's book, the Witch's Guide to Animal Familiars. That should be very interesting. All right, and then finally, books that are have just been published or have been announced. So I don't know if anybody's seen Lon Milo Duquette's latest. It's actually a fiction. It's young Aleister Crowley and the Magician's Revolt. So he brought out a fiction, and I'm trying to get my hands on a copy of that to read that as well. But that was released last month in June, so hopefully it'll be available in South Africa soon. I don't want a hard copy of that. I don't want to read it online. That should be interesting. And then we have literally releasing today actually is Paganism on Parole by Eowyn Dawn. Now I know she did read Paganism for Prisoners, I think it was called. Um, it's it's actually aimed at people in the prison system who are looking into becoming pagans and all such things, which is a great program. It's a fantastic program. So she or he or they, I'm not quite entirely sure, is bringing out today. It's launching today on the 14th. Paganism on Parole, which is obviously a follow up from the previous book. Um, then coming out on the 3rd of August is Foundations of Witchcraft by Irene Glass and Kane Dreamwalker. That looks like a very interesting book. I'm actually going to just didn't get the Lon Milo Duquette's link. I'm going to put the links into the description. I'll do it after we finish the show though. Just for these various books. And then the one I am been dying to I can't wait for it to come out. It's only coming out on the 7th of September though, is Between the Horns by Alwyn Green. You've probably actually seen him if you browse through Facebook and TikTok and everything else. The Antlered Crown. You probably know who I'm talking about if I say The Antlered Crown. Absolutely brilliant. He is incredible. And he knows his witchcraft. He really does folklore, folk witchcraft, traditional witchcraft. He really does know his stuff. So I can't wait for that book. And then the last one, we don't know when it's coming out, but I did see Storm Fairy Wolf did announce that he's waiting for a pre-sale date so that he can put it on pre-sales. But a new book coming out from him called Claiming the Witchfire. It's working with energy for magic healing and psychic development. So that should also be a good one. I do like Storm Fairy Wolf. He is rather good. Okay, and that's all the news for this week. I'm not entirely sure what news I'm going to give you next week because I probably kind of covered it all. Let's see what happens on a weekly basis. From a personal note, I do have the Obsidian Veil live ritual, which is going on today, in roughly an hour and a half from now. So if you want to get involved in that, go onto my Patreon, join the Obsidian Veil tier, which is $5 or higher, and you can watch me do all funny ritual stuff. Um, the next workshop that's coming up is the one for to create a familiar spirit. That's next month. Let me just grab the date for you. But you can go book that on my website. That will be the 9th of August. You can go book that on my website. It's currently on special, 20% off, so it's $40. All right, that's all the news I've got. Let me just see if there's anything I can cover in here on the chat. Richard said he loves Heka. Yeah, oh, great band, they really are. Okay, Crap Bite's going on about his PC and power and everything else. All right, no, there's no real questions or anything regarding this in there. Okay, good stuff. Um, I did see a message just came through. Hold on a second. I'll just check what this says, which I think is relevant. Oh, just in case. Okay, if anybody's not sure, it's the antlered crown is on um, TikTok, etc., etc., etc. Go and look for him for the antlered crown because it's. I'm going to actually put the name in the chat here. Michael said EO Coetting also has a book on glamour magic coming out soon. We are definitely no supporters of Coetting on this channel. Don't want to know anything about Coetting and his ridiculous camp. Sorry, just our opinion. Devs, hello. All right, so let me just put. It's called the Antlered Crown. There you go. In case anybody's interested in that. Absolutely amazing stuff. All right, so I'm going to end the first episode of Brew and Babble for today. And I'll see everybody, well, somewhere on one of the lives or wherever it is, or next week or whatever. Okay. Thanks for joining.